Hello everyone. In this video, I'll be explaining another managed services in AWS with AWS code build. So let's move to the agenda and see what are the topic I'll be covering in this video. So as here the agenda of the code build. So what is code build, why we need it is, what are the features, how the code build will work, and what are the benefits and what are the use cases of code build, and how the pricing models are varies. And I'll show you demo on a cloud build. So what is code build? So when it's come to a code build, it's a tool that helps us to automatically compile our code, run, test, and prepare our application for the deployment. For the deployment purpose, it will be useful for us. So, and it is fully managed build service provided by the AWS, that's Amazon Web Service, that help developers automate the process of compiling a source code, running tests, and producing deployment ready software artifacts. And you don't need to set up or manage your own servers. AWS will handle all those things for you, and it's a critical component of a modern continuous integration and a continuous pipeline. To run the code, compile for the build for the purpose of the application, we will use the AWS code build. The next we will have is why we need a code build. Because it's already I have told you that it's a fully managed build services by AWS, that AWS will provide it that. So it's simplify the software deployment process by automating the complication testing and package of coding. Unlike traditional build system, code build eliminates the need to set up, manage, or scale infrastructures, as it's automatically adjusts to handle concurrent builds based on the demands. Based on the demands, it will work. And it integrates with source repositories, like it also work with GitHub, Bitbucket, and AWS code commit, as well as CI/CD tools such as AWS code pipeline and Jenkins. And also CodeBuild supports pre-config environment for popular programming languages and allow custom Docker image for specialized need. And it's also offering a flexibility for diverse projects, which it's pay as you go pricing model. It's a cost effective for both startups and enterprises. Additionally, it ensures robust security by utilizing AWS identity and access management and encrypting artifacts and logs. And it also accelerates a deployment workflow, supports parallel execution for faster delivery, and helps teams maintain high software quality through automated testing and artifact generations. Let's understand what are the key features of AWS code build. So when it's come to its key feature, first it's a fully managed service. So no need to set up, manage, or scale your own build servers. It's handle the infrastructure updates and scaling everything itself by the AWS. And we have the next thing, it supports for multiple programming language. It supports pre-config environment for languages like Python, Java, JavaScript, Ruby, Go, .NET, and more. It will support. And it also supports for the custom Docker image for the specialized build requirements. So the next thing we have is a automate scaling. So it's dynamically scaled to handle multiple concurrent builds without delay purpose, and effectively managed build queues during peak deployment activity. And it also integrate with AWS and a third party tools. So works with AWS services, like its work with code pipeline, code commit, S3, and a CloudWatch. It integrate with external tools such as GitHub and a Jenkins. So the next thing we have is a customizable build environment. Use pre-built environments or define custom build environment with Docker. configure environments to include specific tools, libraries, and a runtime. So the next is flexible build instruction. So its build command is a build specific YAML file. So the build specific.yaml file is the most important part in the code build for precious control over the build process, and it also supports multiple build stages like including a pre-build, build, and a post-build steps. I'll show you while deploying. So the next thing we have is a real-time logs and a monitoring. View build logs in real time by Amazon CloudWatch logs or the Amazon Management Console, and it helps us quickly identify and debug error during the builds. So secure build process. IMA roles ensure secure access control for the build environment. If you want to secure, the all will be seen by the IMA, that is identity access management. And the last thing we have is a support. It also supports a continuous integration and a continuous deployment. So it integrates into CI/CD pipeline for automate build, test, and deployment, and also support agile deployment workflow by enabling frequent and automated testing. So the next thing we have is a how the AWS code will work. So this is the diagram. So see here we have a source code. Then first we have a source code and then it will build. And the next thing we have a test and we can get a output. So the first step is source. In the AWS code build process is fetching the source code. So this is the initial phase where code build retrieves the code from a repository, which could be an AWS CodeKit repository or it can be a GitHub. It will fetch from there or even an S3 buckets. The source code could be a new version or a specific branch of the application that's need to be built. This step is essential for ensuring that the most recent version of the code is used for the build, ensuring consistency in the deployment cycle. So this is the first step is the source code. So the next step is build. Once the source code is retrieved, the next step is the build process. In this phase, code build compiles the source code and executes the build command specified in the build specific.yaml file. The build spec YAML is YAML configuration file that define the steps to take during the build, such as installing dependency, compiling code, or running specific scripts. The build environment can either be a pre-config by AWS for popular languages like it can be a Java, Python, Node.js, etc., or customized using Docker images. The goal of this step is to transform the raw source code into an executable package or artifacts ready for testing and a deployment. So the next step we have is a test. Build is completed, AWS code build moves on to the testing phase. In this stage, automates test states are executed on the newly built code. These tests can range from basic unit tests to more complex integrations or end-to-end test. The primary goal here is to ensure that the new code does not break existing functionalities and meets the quality standard defined for the project. By running automated tests during the build process, developer can catch issues early, which helps maintain high code qualities and the reliability before the code moves to the production. So at the final, we have a output. Finally, once the code has been built and tested successfully, the built artifacts are generated and stored. These artifacts could be compiled code, package, softwares like a Docker image or a jar file or logs that detail the result of the build and test. AWS CodeBit typically store these artifacts in a S3 buckets, make them available for further deployment or distribution. These steps ensure that the output for the build process is safely stored and ready for the next stage in the CI/CD pipeline, whether it's deployment, further testing, or a distribution to the user. So the overall summary of the how the code build work is, the process is designed to automate the steps of building, testing, and packaging software, streamlining the deployment workflow and ensuring a consistent error free deployment cycle. So this is how the code build will work. So the next topic is benefits of using AWS code build. What are the benefits? Let's see one by one. So we have a no need to provision or manage servers with AWS code build. So there is no need to worry about provisioning, configuring, or monitoring build servers. AWS manage the infrastructure for you, automatically scaling resources as needed. So these eliminates the overhead of managing hardware or a virtual machines, allow developers to focus on coding and improving the application rather than the handling server maintenance. So the next thing we have is a faster builds with parallel execution. So when it's come to AWS code build, it speed up the deployment process by enabling parallel builds. So it can run multiple builds at the same time, significantly reducing the overall time required for the testing and the deployment. This is especially useful for large teams or projects with complex requirements where builds for different branches or features can be simultaneously, accelerating the delivery of new features and the updates. So the next thing we have is a secure benefits. So for the IAMA roles and a encryption for builds. So its security is a key benefit of the AWS code build. So AWS identity and access management to ensure that only authorized users can access and modify build environment. Additionally, code build encrypts build artifacts and logs, ensuring that the sensitive data is protected throughout the build process. This level of security helps organization compile with the industry standards and regulation while safeguarding their codes and resources. So the next thing we have is it supports multiple environments and languages. So as AWS Corebit supports multiple programming languages and build environment from common one like Java, Python, Node.js and a Ruby to custom Docker environment for more specialized needs. These flexibility allow teams working on different platforms or technology to use a single service for their build process, reducing the complexity and increasing consistency across the project. So the next we have is a real-time feedback with the logs and a notification. So when it's come to its AWS providers a real-time logs through Amazon CloudWatch, it gives developer immediate feedback on their builds. These allow them to monitor progress quickly, identify errors, and address issue as they arise. Additionally, code build can be configured to send notification to team members about a build status, helping teams stay informed and respond swiftly and build a failure or a success. So overall, the conclusion of the benefits of the AWS code build, it provides numerous benefits that help streamline the build process, improve efficiency, enhance security, and offers valuable real-time insights for deployment teams. These advantages make code build as essential tool for a modern software development and a continuous integration workflow. So the next topic is use case of code build. So here have taken some use cases about the code build. So the first thing I have is a continuous integration for automates testing and a building. So AWS Cloud Build is widely used to automate testing and building the process in a continuous integration pipeline. When developer push changes to a repository, code build automatically retrieve the latest version of the code, compiles it, run test, and ensure that the new code integrates seamlessly with the existing code base. These automations reduce manual intervention, speed up the integration process, and ensure the issues are catch early in the development cycle. So the next use case here, multi-platform deployment, different build environment for the different platforms. So Colbit supports a multiple programming languages and can be customized with the Docker container to handle different build environment for various platforms. For example, a deployment team working on Android, iOS, and a web application can use different build environment for each platform within the same project. But AWS Code will provide the flexibility to build, test, and package software for multiple operating system, frameworks, and languages, helping streamline multi-platform deployment or development. So the next thing we have is a agile deployment, faster iterations with frequent build. So in agile development, the focus is on a rapid iterations and a frequent release. AWS Code Build supports these approach by enabling faster builds, allowing team to continuously integrate changes, run test, and develop code frequently. These ensure that each spirit can be completed with the validated and the deployable build, improving productivity and ensuring quicker feedback loops. By automating builds and tests, Code Build helps development teams achieve a faster and a more efficient workflow essential for agile methodologies. So these use cases highlights how AWS Code Build can be leveraged to streamline development process, ensuring code qualities and enhance collaboration across the development team. So how the code build pricing model will work. So the first year we have is a pay as you go. So, AWS Code Build uses a pay as you go pricing model, meaning you only pay for the build minute for you actually uses. These pricing structure ensure you are billed based on how much you use the services, make it cost effective for both smaller and a larger project. The more build you run, the more you pay, but it eliminates the upfront cost, giving you flexibility to scale as needed. And it's a free tier. AWS Code Build offers a free tier that includes 100 build minutes per month for standard environment. This is the ideal for developers as small projects who want to experiment with the code build or use it for the light workloads without incurring cost. If usage exceeds 100 minutes within a month, you will build according to a regular pricing. So no upfront cost. There is no upfront fees or a commitment required to use AWS Code Build. You can start using the service right away without needing to invest in a hardware or set up any long-term contracts. This flexibility is particularly beneficially for startups or a business that needs to manage cost efficiently. So in the summary, AWS Code Build pricing model is designed to be a cost effective with the free tier for a light usage and a flexible pay as you go pricing for heavier workloads. These ensure that user only pay for what they use, make it a scalable and affordable solution for build automation. So let's go to the AWS account. I'll show you demo on how to build or how to deploy a code build. So let's move to the code build. So this is the interface of the code build. So you can see the commit, code commit, build project, project history, all the things you can see here. And it also show that related integration is here Jenkins. So before this I'll show you something. So this is the repository I have created for the code demo. So in this I have a build spec.yaml. So this is the important file. I'll explain while creating the project on this. So and also I have a index.html page to create a simple web page, and also have a style.sss file to styling the web application, and I have application.js, and also have a application specific.yaml page to specify the source and destination. So let's go to the code build and start creating a project. So here give the name, that's called a code demo project. So scroll down. So here a source, it's asking for a source provider. So here I'm using uh, GitHub. So here you have a several options. I'm using the GitHub for the central repository for the code, and successfully connected through the secret manager secret. So here my all the credential, that's the GitHub credential, will stored in the AWS secret manager. So what you need to do is go to the manage default credential. There you need to use for the personal token access. There you need to specify your GitHub personal access. Then it will connect it to your um, that's AWS code build. So here, so repository in my Git account, or else you can also use the public repository also you can use. So here I'm using the my person repository, that go to the code, copy this one, paste. So remove the .git. So here only they have specified the format of the URL for the repository. So scroll down. So in a primary source webhook service, here we have a two types of build service. One is single build and a branch batch build. So when it's come to a single build, every time whenever the developer code commits the build, should be happens in those cases by uses a single build. When it's come to a batch build, here we need to set up a number of commit. For that purpose need to use the batch build. So here I'm using a single build by default. And environment, it's an on-demand automatically provision build infrastructure in response to a new build. When you get the new build, it automatically builds those things. And managed image by code, so compute by EC2. Here I'm using the operating systems called Ubuntu, and scroll down. So you can create a new service role, or you can use the existing service role also, like whatever you want you can. I'm using the existing role. So the next thing, so yes, build specific. So insert build specific command, or I use a build specific file. So we need go to the switch editor. So here you need to specify this command, this script, and paste it over here. So this is the format. If your file is not in a format, if you click on it, it will format. So this is the important part of the code build. So here the version 0.2, these specify the version of the build specific file format. 0.2 is the mostly common used version for the AWS code build. So the next thing we have is a phases. These phases section defines the steps code build will run in a sequence. So here we have a installations phase. So command echo dependency to the installed. So this step is for installing any required dependency. It prints a message saying no dependency to install. This indicates that no extra software libraries or tools are needed for this build. So the next thing we have is a build phase. The command is echo no build steps need for the static web application. These step is for building the applications like compiling, bundling, etc. It's bring no build steps needed for the static web application. Since it is a static web applications like HTML, CSS and a JavaScript file, no complications is needed for that I have specified. And also here we have as a post build command also, that's saying echoes deploying static web application to the S3. So for action to be taken after the build is completed. It's sprint depend deploying static web application to S3. It uses the AWS CLI command and also. So the AWS S3 sync demo web application code. So since the current directory that is dot within the specified S3 bucket and S3 demo web application code, this is the target S3 bucket where the file will be uploaded, and it will copy all the files like HTML, CSS, JS from the current directory to the S3 buckets and artifacts. The section tells code build with which files to keep or save after the build is done. And the artifacts are files created during the build that needs to be saved or exported. These files, these sections define which files and directories to included in the output. And the pattern star star slash star is a wildcard pattern, and the star star matches all the directory at any depth, slash star matches all the files inside those directories. In simple word, it tells code build to include all the files and folders recursively from the current directories. So this is for formatted, and the rest of the thing will be default. So here have a copy the code, and also you can use a build specific file by uploading. You can click on this and you can upload the file also. So the rest of the thing will be default, and click on create build project. So as the project is created, so on start build. Took sometimes, let's wait. So and also it show the logs. So as the error is showing, so because when calling the least object to operation, the specified bucket does not exist. Yes, we have not created the bucket that we have in a specified in C. We have specified the demo web app application, right? These bucket is not exist, it will showing. So the thing you need to do is go to S3 bucket. So click on create bucket, give the name that demo web application code. So the public access setting should be disable, and acknowledge, and get versioning should be enabled. So the rest of the thing will be default. Click on create bucket. contains invalid characters. So as the bucket has been created, so we have one second. So as it has been created, so let's get enter this. So go to the properties. So scroll down. We need to enable the static website hosting for view the web application. So here you need to specify the our web application, that is index.html page. So we should enable this thing and we need to specify the index.html page. So and click on save changes. So in index.html have given that my static web application, and also the link, that is a style sheet. From here you have to take that one, and welcome to web application, like this I have mentioned, and also give the image application.js. So this is how I have been mentioned in the index.html file. And one more thing I need to show you, that is so bucket name while creating the bucket name, if you have given a something different, uh, this, so this is the name. If you have given a different name, go to edit, change the name of your bucket and update the build specification. So now click on start build. We have created the bucket also. Let's see. It took time. Let's see. Wait and so the status has been succeeded. So as the phases is completed, success. So let's go to the bucket. So enter on this. So click on refresh button. So see the whatever the code I have uploaded in my GitHub repository, that will see these all the files will reflected in the S3 bucket. So this is how the code will work, and I'll show you. So after this we need to access the web pages. Go to property and click on this link. So it will show that 403 forbidden error. So for this we need to give the permission. So go to permissions. So scroll down, here we need to create a bucket policy. So click on policy generator. So here select the type of the policy S3 bucket, and principal star, and this we need to get the object, right? For that we need to give the policy actions for get object to display the app website. So for the Amazon resource ERN, so copy this, so paste it over here, and give the add statement, and it will generate the policy. Copy this policy, so close this, go to the bucket and paste it over here. So after this click on save changes. So the policy has been created. So now go to the properties and click on to the website endpoint. So it will appear the HTML, that is a web application page. This is the content I have written in the style.css file and a HTML index.html file. So this is how the code build will work in a AWS. So let's go to the bucket and I'll show how to delete these resources and all. So the first thing you need to empty the bucket, or else you cannot delete the bucket. So click on copy this and paste it. So after the empty bucket, you need to delete the bucket. Before empty the bucket, you cannot delete those resources. So click on delete bucket. So the bucket will deleted. Now we need to delete the build project that we have built one. So click on this and go to actions and delete the button. To, to confirm the deletion, you need to type the delete. So click on delete. So as the project also deleted. So this is how the code will work. So that's all about the AWS code build. Thank you.